Milli Vanilli looked sensational. I mean, they were both great-looking guys, and the songs were massively good and huge hits, and they didn't sing them. People got really upset, you know? Yeah. But at any rate, that was
a bad day for the music industry.
It was.
Rob and Fab. Rob is passed.
Yeah, so Rob, I think he took his own life, which is really sad. I can't verify that, though. You have to look it up. But, you know, what's incredible is that you could imagine, I mean, like, we talk all the time about, like balance and how you balance, you know, work and then fame and then your personal life, and how do you keep all those things in balance, right? And it's a really difficult thing to do. You can only imagine with guys like that, like, out of nowhere. Literally, I remember, Matt. I mean, this I was like,
no, I
you were like 11. You know, I was probably 4. It was 89, so I was 12 and a half, 13. You were like 9. Dude, those guys exploded. Let me tell you something. Dad loved those guys.
Yeah, everybody loved them.
So they sold
multi-generational.
They were, but they also sold I think 15 million records too. It was 8-9 million. It was so big. And they won Grammys, every Grammy that year. Best new artist.
That was the
best
problem.
pop vocal. Right. So to come from nothing, they were unknown and clearly weren't even singers. And to be thrust into this spotlight, can you imagine the balance difficulties they had? And now all of a sudden it's a charade. Like they weren't even singing. Can you imagine what that must have felt like? And then having that come out and that balance being then shifted again, and then all these incredible adoring fans. You go from the biggest thing in pop music since Michael Jackson, which is what they were teaming them, and then wow, like within 2 years it all crumbled or something like that, close to it, maybe a little longer, and then wow, the balance gets shifted again, and then unfortunately, you know, look at what happened. I mean, they literally didn't even get another opportunity. As a matter of fact, I think they came out, if I'm not mistaken, they tried to sing themselves.
Yeah.
And it was not good.
It didn't work.
No.
Yeah, you know, I come across
But balance is tough.
Yeah, I come across this a lot because people always ask, like, growing up as an actor in the entertainment industry, so you're a child, you know, actor, where did you find balance between being a real kid,
right,
and getting in your childhood versus being this, you know, actor?
Yeah.
And it always comes up all the time. And we were lucky. I think we did get a balance.
We did.
But a lot of people that I came up with, I kind of look at it as like a class. Like you're like 3 or 4 years in the industry, like when you kind of come onto the scene.
It is a class.
You does. Follow with these people, just like you would in high school.
Yeah,
they like follow you. You know them. It's like almost like a class. And in my class coming up, there were
Brad Pitt, Johnny Depp.
No.
Okay.
No, there were at least 2 or 3.
George Clooney.
Robert Redford.
They didn't make it.
And Dustin Hoffman.
They had the same end as Rob from Milli Vanilli. They took their own lives, and that is because, from what I can think and what I can see and from what I've heard, because I did know these guys and girls.
Dude, the Power Ranger guy.
Well, that was recent.
I mean, but I'm saying, but it's still going on.
I think what it is when you don't have that balance and you make
your business your life.
Oh man,
forget it.
Because then you've grown up with this expectation that you're going to walk into a room and people are going to, be excited and be happy and cheer for you and this. And then all of a sudden one day it's gone.
Right.
And if you've based
people
your whole life.
Do that for you? They still do that for me.
If you've based your whole life off of that,
Hey, Joey's here.
I think if people did a study on it, I think it'd be more dysfunctional than trying to get off of heroin or something like that. It's like the greatest natural drug ever when you're young and you're successful, and it's the success that's dictating those type of comments, not you. So when the success separates from you,
how funny is it? Like, and I totally get it because you're guilty of it too at times in my life. But like when you walk into a room and you think that all those accolades and happiness is actually something that you're doing.
Right, it's not.
It's got nothing to do with you.
Nothing.
But it's just attached to you for the moment.
Well, it has stuff to do with you. I don't think that's a correct statement. It does. It does have something to do with you. You're the performer. You're out there doing it. But
I feel like walking into a room expecting that or seeing that and feeling like that you're the cause of that is just, I don't know, maybe to me it just sounds
You're right.
narcissistic.
You're bigger than that.
It sounds
it's
ridiculous.
way bigger than you.
Exactly.
But like I'm saying, you're right.
I could take 300 other people and put them in the same position that you're in, and you'd probably have the same reaction.
If all those elements came
exactly.
together.
I'm not saying I'm not. Yeah, exactly.
Look, there are some unique circumstances, but at the real issue is that, and I remember, I forget, it was either mom or dad that said this. I think probably was mom that said, your life is not the business. The business is just part of your life. Mm-hmm. But your life is not the business. That's what you do. And that's a big difference, because when the business is your life, that's when your successes as a human being are become predicated on your successes in your business.
Yeah.
If your business is what you do as part of your life, then you can have successes as a human being, and whether you fail or succeed business-wise, it doesn't affect your personal life. I mean, it does, but not your life, you know? And I think that's what happens. It gets really convoluted and gets really muddy. And like you said, Matt, like you fail in a movie, or you have a failed TV show, or you don't get 10 projects and you're out of work for 2 years, you start to think you're a failure, not just you're not succeeding in your career, you know? And I never associated my life with the work, in good times and bad. It affected my life, but it was never my life. Like I always, you know what I mean? I didn't take that as like, I'm a failure. I just said, boy, I'm just not doing what I want to do. I'm not accomplishing what I wish I could accomplish in my work. But I never thought like I'm personally a failure because of the work stuff, you know, other things, but not the work.
Yeah, and on the flip side for me too, I don't know if you guys feel this way, but because we started so young, and that whole thing started so young, in like my middle to late 20s, I started to feel like I wasn't as successful, or what was going on. Like why wasn't I able to stay on this track, always moving up? But then something that I wasn't expecting happened. I started to get a taste of having some anonymity.
Yeah.
I was able to
What if you're like,
leave
I
the
got
house.
better looking?
I was able to leave the house, go to the market, hang out with friends, do normal stuff that everybody kind of takes for granted without having like 100 eyes from you. And I loved it.
Yeah.
And then it flipped. And then it became, I started to have fear of, well, I know I've got to get back strong at this, because this is what, you know, provides for my family. This is what keeps me going. This is what pays the bills. So I gotta get back into it, and I gotta be successful and love doing it. But I don't know if I'm willing to give up my anonymity again for it.
Right.
So now it's like this kind of weird juggle. And that gets to the crux of why I am so standoffish with social media. It's because I truly believe you have to take your wins and your losses in private for this particular reason. Because if the social media and you have now blended over, and you're actually taking some of these comments seriously, I can't imagine the mental state. So it brings me now into, boy, teenagers and kids growing up in this world, how do they balance their real lives versus their social media and what their friends are saying on them online? It's got to be insane. I am so glad I'm not a teenager right now.
I know.
I don't know what I would do.
I have basically 2 of them, so I know, and it's really brutal. And, you know, I think for the first time in certainly a long time, you know, our parents said, hey, look, it's, you know, we used to be able to tell our parents it's not like it was when you were growing up. But essentially, it really was for a long period of time. I mean, yes, modern advances in technology, you know, Walkmans and VHS.
I think it's always different.
But
We have
it was always relatively similar. All right, like it was always, there was a lot of analog stuff, basic trade that you had to learn how to do.
Here's what happened.
And then all of a sudden, social media
technology increased, yes, but we were living in the same
space, in the same space. Yes,
the era changed in the late 90s with the internet.
Right, the internet.
We didn't feel it until socially we got involved in the internet, started using the internet for our social discussions.
Correct.
That's when it just took a whole nother turn, and now it started a new era. So all those rules that applied to us actually don't apply anymore.
Exactly.
You're right. We were still living in the
That's what I'm saying.
parameters of our parents.
Because I remember
now it's not just the bad. Now it's not just like your kids getting into a bad circle of kids in the neighborhood or the few kids that are rowdy at school. It's the world. It is the entire world, all the good and all the horrific bad. And that's exposed. And to try to protect them from that is futile in most ways, unless you're literally going to cut them off from it all. And then what happens? So then you cut them off, and then at 18, you send them out into this digital crazy landscape, and they have zero experience, and you haven't been able to protect them. That's, well, what do you mean?
I have no idea.
I search daily for that with my children. It's almost impossible. It is so hard. I feel like I win some days. I feel like I lose more days. And then I try to have like moderate successes in between. And it is a wild, wild place to be. I'm sure I'm not alone, for a lot of parents out there with young kids and burgeoning teenagers. But it It is so crazy. The pressure it puts on them is crazy. As
sure.
children, it's obscene.
Well, I
It's
heard-
obscene.
Hey guys, the Lawrence Brothers here to thank you for tuning in and watching this episode of the Brotherly Love Podcast.
That's right, and to watch clips from this pod, go to the PodCo YouTube channel at the link in the description.
And for exclusive weekly bonus content, join our Patreon now. The link is also in the description.
And we will see you guys next week.
Next week.
Next week.